went over to visit him at the moment, and he went out with my mum like he sometimes does to sit in the car when she goes shopping for him. So I said I'd stay at the house. I've been doing his roof up a bit recently, so if I can flip this over, see where we've been putting loads of the sort of flashing tape on his conservatory roof when it leaks. His one is much better than ours, despite its age, but that's, I think, just because it's got so many. His one is like a lot more vertical, so it's got a better slant to it, where our one's the problem with our sort of roofs, roofing sort of bits that we've got in our house is it's a much flatter angle, so it's much easier for the water to get in. But yeah, there we go. So I'm taking water down the garden if you want. It's not quite raining at the moment, but nobody's on at the moment anyway. But at least I get a signal everywhere. I'm just getting a bit off the road. Right, I'm hoping the comments show up when people talk, because if they don't, it'll be a bit difficult. Alright, so it'd be more interesting actually if I put this round this way. So, apples on the apple tree, they're growing alright. I think some of them are cooking apples on some of them, some more decent apples. No, it's not 8 AM for me, it's 12 gone midday here. Yeah, so apples, some rhubarb. It's in the greenhouse. Don't know if the door's not locked. Don't know if some of the stuff seems still to be a bit alive in here. It's like tomato plants, I think. Tomato plants, maybe. Hard to actually see. I mean, the problem with obviously the greenhouse is it's not my Miski, it's my granddad's. That's what came over to do some jobs for him today because he's 99. So my mum's taking him out shopping so he can get out the house. I did a bit of roof repair for him earlier, not obviously in the greenhouse. Sometimes you find like dead mice and stuff in here where they get in, I guess can't get out. Yeah, you can see where we've repaired this loads of times for him with just tarp over it that's now coming apart again. Because yeah, there's so much broken glass in this greenhouse that yeah, it's been obviously replaced quite a few times with definitely not hit my head on that door. Alright, yeah, seeing that. I think that's all mint now. Yeah, so the mint's growing all right. That's all yeah, growing. All flowers and everything. Go back in the house. It is raining ever so slightly. He doesn't have internet, so it doesn't actually matter if it's brewing a cup of tea. So that looks quite dark now, so that's good. I'll put a bit of milk in there. The only problem is I don't have there's a little back stand on this phone, I suppose. Hang on, let's see if will this actually be. The only thing with this back stand is I don't know if it's one. Yeah, this phone's the issue of the, like I say, the back stand on this phone is if it's over in like landscape it's all right, but I think this back stand's a bit kind of naff. You more have to prop it up like this, just using furniture. But sorry, very old mug. You can see the steam coming off of it. Yeah, this isn't a usual stream, but sometimes we get a lot more people on when I do streams like this. Teaspoons in this drawer. Put a bit of milk in there. If I remember it, I think his fridge is this one. 2nd of August. Yeah, that's still in date. I have to leave this to cool down a bit because it's going to be too hot for a bit anyway. But yeah, look, that looks more like cup of tea colour there. I have actually got 2 tea bags in the bloody thing, so it is going to be a strong cup of tea, but I've only had one coffee this morning. That was a few hours ago. So I will sit back in the chair in this room. But yeah, hopefully we get some more people on, because like I said, normally when I do these vertical streams, like the webcam style ones, but the vertical ones, that's when we quite often get 30 plus people on. But again, it depends how long it takes YouTube to send out a notification. Also, this is the first one I've done from this particular phone, I think, on a live stream like this. So we'll see how the, like I say, the live stream goes on this one. Actually, I'll just quickly show you what I was doing with the roof. Might as well bloody show you. I did sort of show it on the start of the stream, but nobody was on. So, up here behind me, look, you can see on the ceiling, I'll just flip the camera around again. You can see where we've been, see where like that square is there. And mostly that square there, we put like lead flashing tape on and then just repaired some little tiny holes in the roof with some other little small bits like duct tape and flashing tape. The silicon, like the black silicon bits, they're ones I did years ago where the roof was leaking. So that's ones where I've been up there, you know, and what I did is the big, proper big holes, obviously filled with silicon. So it's not particularly neat, but it works. It stopped the roof leaking. And then what I've just done is every now and then patch little bits up with flashing tape. So again, there's tarp and that flashing tape. But Sack Sniffer says filter star. I assume he said something else and YouTube's hidden it. Pretty retro looking scale. Ooh, nuclear. The last word in quality, made in the Republic of Ireland. It's got the name nuclear on it. What does that go up to? 5 kilos, I'd guess. Yeah, £10, 5 kilos. And those long dead vases, essentially. I wonder if that's a uranium glass one, that one. I have to bring a Geiger counter over at some point and check that one. But that kind of looks like uranium glass, that one. The cactus, that still actually looks quite alright, even though... Yeah, it's still alive, that cactus. Yeah. So, yeah. That cacti is... The one at the back looks pretty dead, but the little ones on there look pretty healthy still. Some other plants as well. I think he still does quite like watering plants. So, like I said, the garden's actually in pretty good shape for him being 99. So, do I have any pets? We have a budgie, Misky, and that's it. I volunteer with the Blue Cross every now and then. So that's like an animal shelter place, but I don't have many pets of my own now. Right. Flip this back around. Where's I guess greetings from Tom's military. I thought you were saying TM like it was a state then or a country. I was going to say, where's TM? How many gas mask vintage would I say I have in total? Easily over 100. I think the most I've ever had at once has probably been 150 plus. But like I said, but there's some I've given away and sold sort of over the years, so the number's gone down. But the annoying thing is, at one point I had a like a proper list of all my gas masks where I like by country had them all numbered, from earliest production date ones to latest production date. So say I do like say UK and then have my World War II ones at the start, then it would go down with things like the S10 near the end of the list for the UK. And at that point I had them all numbered. But I lost that at one point when like a PC format thing happened or whatever, or like a hard drive error, and I didn't have an up-to-date backup of it, and I never bothered doing another one of those. Again, need to be on something I've not already done. Again, I have got a mask I've not done a video on yet, so I'll do that. But like I said, with gas mask videos, it's just like with all the other stuff, it gets done when I've got something interesting to do with them. Because like I said, the thing is, I don't want to be a channel that just keeps, cranking out the same videos over and over and over and over. just because I that's what annoys me with some other channels I'm subscribed to, not to do with gas masks, but just ones where they basically just redo the same videos. Like after a year of not doing a video on something, they'll just start recycling their content to try and keep people coming back, even though it's not new content. So yeah, I'll do a video on the I think it's a Czechoslovakian gas mask I've not done a video on yet. Like I did a quick video on it, like showing it with some other masks. And that's where people in the comments were arguing which brand of mask it was and everything else. So I'll do a video on that. But again, there's other stuff I've got. Like I have a big list of videos I want to get done and haven't got around to doing yet. But sometimes it's weather dependent. If it's something I'm going to film outside. At the moment, there's a load of night vision videos I want to do with the ADNV night vision I've got. But annoyingly, because it's summer, like I was saying, I have the problem where I have to wait till probably 11 p.m. at the moment to actually be able to get good footage. And if I'm getting up to do something in the morning, I don't want to be up trying to film stuff at 11 p.m. to then get home, sort of thing. Not the summer of this year, Misky, because I'd had to have already booked it off work and everything and saved up for it. But next year, very likely I will, because I've got a passport again now. I said before, because my passport expired during COVID, because I didn't see the point of renewing it during COVID, where I'd have to spend whatever it was, like 50 to 80 pounds, whatever the renewal cost was for the passport. And that was quite difficult to do during COVID as well, because the passport and like driving license sort of people were all doing bloody work from home shit. So they had like, almost like a 6 months or like a year's backlog. So I thought, if you can't go on holiday to a lot of places anyway because of COVID restrictions all around the world, and renewing your passport is going to take like a year to do, I thought no point doing it during COVID. So a few months ago, I did renew my passport. Yeah, I've definitely got more weapons videos to make. On that bloody shit old percussion pistol I got that I've managed to restore the barrel quite well because I've pressure washed it and all re-oiled it up. When I've got some more bits of that cleaned up, I'm going to do a video on that restored, because annoyingly I did take some photos of it before I dismantled it, but I should have done a video on it before dismantling it, because like I said, the problem was with that one was as soon as I started dismantling any of the bits of it and I realised just how dirty and gunged up it was, there are lots of bits you can't put back together now. And a lot of people, didn't believe me when I said how crap it was. And when one of my mates came over, he had a look at like where I'd taken it out of the wooden housing, and he's like, "Oh yeah, you're right. That was just fucking atrociously, looked after." It's one where somebody had basically polished the wood on the outside and cleaned the metal on the outside of the gun, And I think, to be fair, the inside of the barrel wasn't particularly rusty, so I think they'd actually, oiled the barrel on that, and cleaned the barrel every now and then. As well, probably 50 plus years of that pistol being used, they'd never taken any of the like trigger mechanism off or the action off, and being a black powder, it meant it just horribly fouled up. And they'd also, over the course of that pistol's life, done some really bad homemade repairs to it, like where like those sort of bubbered guns that would make a gunsmith weep, that sort of thing, where they'd taken bits of it off and then kind of bodged them back on. So I'm wondering with that one, if I can get a similar enough like Denix replica, I'm wondering if I can refit the barrel and everything to like a Denix. I might actually look at that now. Yeah, of course you can ask another question, Tom. That's the sort of point of the streams. It's just sometimes annoyingly on these you can't actually post a question if YouTube censors it. But yeah, like I was saying, I might see if I can get a Denix replica of a very similar kind of pistol, and then see if the wood, like and all that, is good enough to rehouse the pistol in that wood. Because if so, because I'm shit at carpentry and stuff like that, but that would be something I could manage, just getting a close enough like pre-cut pistol type thing and doing that. Throw some gang signs. Afraid I don't know many gang signs, but don't really exactly live in an area with Crips and Bloods and whatever else. Closest I get to that is some chavs stabbing each other, over whatever the fuck they're stabbing each other over. Probably isn't even weed anymore. It's brands of Adidas trainers. No, the gas hood is a replica Vintage Collectibles, and I've said before, but you might not have heard this. The reason I don't have any World War One gas masks, because I've seen them for sale before, is because they require a lot of looking after, you know, as in like probably putting in a case and making sure they're right climate controlled and all stuff like that. And I really hate the idea of buying something like a really old World War One gas mask and it deteriorating and falling apart because I didn't look after it properly. So that's the reason I never bought them. Is I have now and again seen ones at good prices. I've just never personally bought them because it's just a case of I don't want to buy something that's got an antique sort of history to it and then destroy it. So that's what I'm saying. I don't feel bad about what I'm doing with that pistol at the moment, because when I bought it and I realised it was in such atrocious condition, you know, it was, I don't think I can make it any worse kind of thing, you know, because like I said, it was only a thing from the outside that looked good. As soon as you took it apart, you realised essentially it was all rotted and corroded inside. But that would be a good restoration product. So I've done a couple of like very minor restoration projects, but never never anything too serious. It's more been when I've just had slightly rusted like helmets and that I've treated them to stop the rust getting any worse, you know, and then doing that sort of thing. Can't wear a gas mask here, I'm afraid, Caitlin, because I literally don't have any. I'm around my granddad's. So if I just turn that around, not my house. There's a picture of me, look, when I was a kid. Looking very nerdy. So that is from probably, it's Marlborough. So I started Marlborough in probably 2005. That was my secondary school. So I reckon that is probably like year 7 or year 8. So that would make me then about 11 years old or whatever. So yeah, as you can see, Granddad's house. Oh, finished seeing my cup of tea's at a temperature. I can start drinking it now. But looks more like coffee because how strong I made it. But yeah, not in my own house. So I can't wear a gas mask. And if my granddad had any gas masks, he'd have already given them to me. Because he's given me a load of old other World War II stuff and like, you know, stuff like that. But don't think he ever had any gas masks he took back. You know, he's given me old like shell casings and that and a load of other shit I've got in the shed. You know, because again, it was shit he had in his shed, like old bits of artillery guns and stuff. Nothing illegal, nothing, you know, that needs deactivating, but, you know, just like sights off of artillery guns and like gun tripods and stuff like that. Yeah, because Vintage Collectibles, I have a Japanese World War II gas mask, and that has the exact same problem, that every time I touch it, more of it falls apart. So it's one that I've just got kept in as good storage now as I can, you know, for where I can store it. But I don't really like even getting it out to do videos on it, just because it's one of those ones that, like I said, it's obviously been a Japanese World War II mask, probably been bundled about and knocked about over the years. And then it's, like I said, probably been kept in a really bad climate for decades, like in somebody's shed or garage. So, you know, all the rubber has perished. And it's basically kind of like mummified, you know, that when you touch bits, it just flakes off. Not really. I mean, if I'd have had something really cool like the radio code back then, that probably would have gone off, the radio code. But because I only had like the radius scan, you know, which is good, the radius scan 701 with the alpha, beta, and gamma on it, you have to obviously be right next to something to pick it up if it's background. I took some sand and that off the beach that might have been mildly higher than normal, but when I was there wasn't really anything, at least where you can go as a member of the public, that, you know, is radioactive. So they've obviously cleaned it up a lot since, you know, the 80s or whatever it was, when they were just dumping shit, like, you know, kind of Russian style back then, just of, you know, like, oh, the sea's there, so let's put some radioactive waste in the sea. It's a big place to dump it. But with all the modern rules on all that, and I think a lot of that is just so terrorists can't get their hands on nuclear material, it's all, you know, kept very securely in the site, like locked in silos and in like whatever they call those, like cooling ponds, is it they call them, where you know, you have just big vats, like reservoir vats of water, where like specific types of radioactive material are put in, so they can't heat up and, you know, get more reactive, and they just go in there till loads of their half-lives are finished. But yeah, so I'm not streaming Long Dark today, like I said, because I'm over my granddad's, and oh, I've just spotted a picture of me when I was really, really young. Hang on. This I think was from my christening because I got a little teddy bear suit on. Look, so that must have been me aged maybe like 2 or something. In the middle. There's my dad before he lost a load of weight, so he's quite fat in that picture. But my dad was somebody that, used to be pretty fat, and then he lost a load of weight because the doctors told him, he probably wouldn't live to a certain age if he didn't lose weight, and now he's in his 70s and quite healthy. Sadly, they don't make reproduction filters, Vintage Collectibles, but what you can do with a C7, if you obviously be very, very careful with it because you don't want to damage it, but you can undo the tape that keeps the really old filter on it, and you can put a more modern filter on and then tape it on if you use airtight tape, because there's actually weirdly examples of C7s that were used in places like Sellafield, because they literally, the government being cheap or whatever at the time, a load of those that they destroyed or whatever, some of them they kept and just essentially taped more modern filters to them. So there's a picture of a C7 you can find online that's in a museum somewhere, and it's got an S10 filter taped to it, where they just got a C7 and taped a 40mm sort of NBC filter to it, because I guess they just, wanted to keep, have as many masks as cheaply as possible for a site where people needed masks, but they only really needed masks if there was a disaster, if they weren't the people directly working with, nuclear sort of dust threats or whatever. But I guess everybody on site was probably given a gas mask in case of an emergency. So yeah, there's examples like that. So yeah, Vintage Collectibles, the World War II civilian respirator, it's like that one where it's essentially got a filter that's just taped onto it. So yeah, all you'd have to do is very gently take the tape off if you don't want to damage the original tape, and then the filter is probably kind of like a sardine can sort of thing, where it's a filter that doesn't have its own threads. Essentially, it was just made to be a size that would, where the rubber probably of the mask would overlap onto it, and then they just put an airtight tape around in a couple of times. So yeah, it's basically the C7 is exactly like the British World War II civilian gas mask, except with better quality. Right, I've heard a car just come up outside. I'll keep the camera that way, but once my mum gets back with my granddad, I need to help them in with their shopping. So I don't think that was them, but no, it's not. But I just, like I said, I'll have to end the stream as soon as possible. Not as soon as possible like now, but as soon as I get back, I'll just literally need to end the stream, because like I said, I'll have to be helping my granddad in and that, and helping him with their shopping. That's cool. I mean, I know at least with Czechoslovakia, there as well as German occupation, you had lots of the Czechoslovakian stuff, didn't you, that the Germans ended up using, like Czechoslovakian tanks and lots of the small arms they just repurposed. That's not my hallway, Tom. It's my granddad's. Like I was saying, I'm around his house today. What was the vintage mirror? What this one was it you saw, or a different one? A barometer there. Look, we've got a barometer in our house. They're great barometers because they actually work. So fair to very dry. I mean, I don't think that's quite accurate because it's sort of drizzly outside, but it's not too bad. The thermostat's correct though, where that's sort of 23 or whatever on there. Yeah, about 23. That's pretty accurate. Oh, and there you go. I always forget to show these when I do the things, but this actually would interest people on these. So there you go. 22 LAA Regiment Royal Artillery. It was square hanging up via chains. Oh, what was that in his living room, not the hallway? Oh, you're on about that one. No, yeah, that's yeah, that's the one you're on it. Anyway. Like I was saying, Tom, he's 99, so he is actually a World War II veteran. So, like I said, my granddad is just one of those sort of people, and obviously I love the fact about him because I really get on with him, but he's one of those sort of old people that just keeps on going, sort of thing. But yeah, like I said, with some of my family, I've had the opposite sort of stuff, you know, where some people died a lot younger from cancer and that, and he's just one of those people that just keeps going and going and going. Yeah, my granddad's medals from World War II because he was in D-Day and all that. Although he wasn't in D-Day on day one because the artillery crewman didn't arrive on. All right, Davey, didn't arrive on day one, so his medals are from about you know any time forward, I guess. From I think it was D-Day day 6 he landed. So then up until obviously the end of the war through like you know obviously France, shooting Belgium as well, obviously the Netherlands, and then obviously into Germany. Just trying to see if Eli, as Daniel Plainview as his picture. I was just trying to look again, promise, because I'm on a mobile phone. It's tiny. I'm just going to see if this barometer is actually. To be fair, the barometer in this room is giving the same reading as the one in the other room. So yeah, there's a barometer in here that's giving the same reading. So maybe they're not too far off. But again, barometers are more, aren't they, when the pressure suddenly changes. If you have like a dry day that's slowly going drizzle too much. But like I said, as soon as the I wonder if that's uranium glass. Hang on. Just seen as a it's doing that stupid thing, the YouTube thing going, orientation is locked. That looks a bit like uranium glass, but again, I don't have a UV light or a Geiger counter on me in here, so but that does look a bit like uranium glass. Again, it could just be green, just some other sort of green dyed thing. That kind of reminds me of uranium glass as well. My mum at one point did get me to check some stuff in the house. She was worried it might have been Fiesta ware in this house, but I don't think in the end it was. Otherwise, I'd have had it. But the only thing that was really radioactive that was obvious, because I also checked some other things, is my granddad gave me an old German World War II watch at one point, which I've still got, but the casing's completely fallen off of that now because it was one where he'd replaced the casing and like straps loads of time because it was you know, a watch that, because it was a watch he had that was good, he kept wearing it day in, day out, you know, probably until he retired. So it was one that probably had like 40 odd years of service or something, even after World War II. And that one, yeah, like I said, eventually the casing started falling off. Obviously, I now keep it in my radioactive box. So I said that to him. It's like, as much as it's a nice watch, it's not going to just sit around because it's belching out radon because of the radium paint on it. But I was going to say, other than that, the only things in his house I found that have been radioactive is when the radio scan and that has picked up stuff like the, like, you know, smoke alarms that have americium in. But yeah, like I said, from what I'm aware, there's not too much, thankfully, in this house that is like coated in radium paint or radioactive, at least, you know, not to the dangerous degree. I'll have some more of my cup of tea. I don't know, I didn't bring it into this room. Data warning, you've used 2 gigabytes of data. Well, that's fine now because that was why months ago I actually ended up buying unlimited data contract for my phone so I could stream like this if I'm not at the house. And again, somewhere I can actually get good internet, because where my granddad lives, it's all 4G and 5G, which is good. Where I live, you don't get a phone signal most of the time, or a mobile phone, so you're on landlines. My granddad actually gets better mobile data speeds where he lives than I get on my fucking landline for the broadband. So in theory, I could download like games and stream better at home via the mobile signal like this, but whatever. Just again checking that there's no car pulled up yet. That's right. Do I have a GP7? I do at home, and I've got the PMK and a few of the other like Soviet ones. I was going to say this will be fun for people. I'm just going to use a chairlift because boys are toys. There you go. Amazing changing background behind me. Although you're not going to notice it changing that much, are you? If I do this, I have to keep my legs in actually. Just looking at that. Look. No, vintage collectibles. That will be because if you want to get one History World War II and it doesn't cost too much, then yeah. There we go, at the top of the stair lift now, look. But yeah, what was I going to say? PMG, but yeah, no, what that will be vintage, it will still be radioactive, it will be radium paint, and it's because radium is a heavy metal, and it eats into the like phosphor paint. So what happens is over time the radium just destroys the glow in the dark paint it was mixed with, because radium has to be in huge quantities to glow on its own. How radium paint works, I can't remember Misky without looking if I have a GP21, because I do have a load of other GP masks, but the more modern ones, but I don't find them as cool, the modern ones, so I forget which ones I have. But yeah, what was I going to say? Again, like I said, I'm just standing here because it means as soon as, my granddad is here. Right, I'm going to have to go. But yeah, have a good day, everybody, and I'll just figure out how to end the stream. Right, have a good day.